Internet, Eric here. Well, it's been a while since I've done a video not like podcast related, Two Bearded Losers related here on the channel. So I wanted to come back with a really good one, and by really good one, I mean really good movie that I enjoy. And lately on the podcast, other than the Stephen King one that just came up, we've been talking the Critters movies. We talked part one, and then for our Easter movie, we talked part two, or Easter episode, we talked part two. Kind of ties into this one because the Kyoto brothers, they did the design for the Critters. Today, I'm talking Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. This came out in 1988, and what I mean by the Kyoto brothers reference is one of them directed this movie. All three of them are behind the design of it. All of them produced and wrote this film, and man, I absolutely love this one. And like I mentioned in the Critters episode, and I've mentioned many times, my mom is the one that got me into horror and science fiction. And with Critters, she watched it on HBO one day, recorded it, showed it to me, fell in love. Killer Klowns, same concept, like years later. Saw it on HBO, recorded it, watched it, gave it to me, I watched it, fell in love with it. Basic plot of this one is there is a race of alien beings who look literally like circus clowns. They land on Earth in some podunk USA type town in a spaceship shaped like a big top. And what they do is apparently they're going from town to town, abducting, I guess you would say, everyone in the town, taking them back to their ship, and I'm assuming they want to fly off back to their home planet or another planet, and use these humans or whatever creatures, I guess, if they're on other planets, for nourishment. The main character of Mike, he's the one that finds out about the clowns. His girlfriend Debbie is kidnapped, and he has to basically stage a rescue mission before she is taken away and eaten, type of deal. Like I said, I already said, I absolutely love this one. First off, we'll get to the characters. Mike, he's likable. He's kind of like the goofy, but not over the top goofy lead. He's fine. He's got some good chemistry with the girl who plays Debbie, which we'll get to. He's got some good chemistry with the guy who plays Dave, which we'll get to. He's got tolerable chemistry with the Terenzi brothers, which I'll definitely have to talk about. So he is a good lead in this type of schlocky 80s sci-fi movie that's like, it's definitely an homage to like the 50s type of stuff, not necessarily like, I don't know if you want to say Ed Wood, but definitely some of like the Roger Corman stuff. That is very hot. So I like him. Debbie, played by Suzanne Snyder, who I fell in love with in this movie. Not necessarily for her acting, but just because of good to look at, beautiful. I know her. She's also in Weird Science. I don't know if she's the girl who ends up with Wyatt or Gary. She's obviously not the one that's from Friday the 13th Part 4. She's just beautiful in this movie. I'm not going to get into it, but the 80s hair and the face and everything. Likeable. She puts Mike in his place when he's being a dork. Yeah, all around fine performance. When she's a damsel in distress, she's not in it very long. She's good. Can scream really well. So she does her job. The other main characters, we have Dave, who is the police chief, an ex-husband or ex-boyfriend of Debbie, who is thrown into this trying to save the world type of thing. He's fine. He's a really good hero. That's not the lead. So, and he fits well with Mike and Debbie. What is his name? John Vernon plays Officer Mooney. And he's basically, if you take his character of the Dean from Animal House and make him a cop, this is him. I've always joked that it's like the same character after he got fired from being the Dean. During the Animal House debacle, he became a cop in this podunk town, and he is so great at being this asshole. Like, first time we see him, he knows he's arresting some punks, and I say punks because they're dressed like punkers, for hanging out and drinking in the park, and he's throwing them around, just being an all around all out jerk. When the clowns are attacking and people are calling the police station, Mooney's the only one there because Dave is out helping. He's just basically letting the phones ring because after a couple calls, he thinks it's crank calls being played by Mike and the Terenzi brothers, and he just basically says, "Oh, so you want to drive me off the force, huh? Well, fuck you all!" And he lets all the phones ring while he's just sitting there smoking a cigar or something. Really great asshole actor, and he fits perfectly. He is, in my opinion, the star character of this movie, and one scene in particular we'll get to in a second. The only other characters, so basically I am enjoying every character until we get to the Terenzi brothers. I don't even know their names. They are the comic relief. And I put that in quotations because they are comic relief that aren't really funny. They are the best buddies of Mike. Their shtick is they're trying to sell ice cream to the townspeople. They drive in an ice cream truck with a big fucking clown on top. And they have a speaker, so they can try to sell the ice cream. And they show up at like Lover's Lane, or no, that's on top of the world, but it's basically Lover's Lane, and they're saying like have a tasty ice cream while you screw and this and that. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make money and then maybe score some chicks, and they're just fucking annoying. I hate them both. They argue. Their arguments aren't funny. Their jokes aren't funny. The slapstick isn't funny, and they survive the movie. That's the problem. It's like, Deputy Dewey, in the Scream movies. He fucking survives all of those movies. He's the dumbest character in the movie. You want him to die, and he doesn't. The Terenzi brothers, thank God they're sprinkled sporadically through this movie, but God, they suck, and they're dumber than shit. I mean, there's a scene where they don't want to help Mike, rescue Debbie, because, they're afraid of the clowns or some shit like that. And Mike's like, I'll get you a date with her roommates, and they got big boobs. So they're like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it for Hooters. And of course, when they're finally in the spaceship trying to rescue Debbie, they fall through a trap door, they land in a big ball pit, and they see clowns. Now these clowns don't look, they're human, female clowns. But the Terenzi brothers are so dumb, they think they're human, because they mention, are you Debbie's roommates? Because they make their boobs get bigger. These fucking look like that, with pigtails, basically. And they're dumb enough to think that they're Debbie's roommates. That just adds to the stupidity of these fucking characters. But those are the only lame characters. God, the soundtrack, first off, the Killer Klowns from Outer Space theme song from the Dickies. So much fun. The Dickies is a fun band. I had the EP that this theme song came out of, and it was like 5 songs. All of them were fun. But I love the theme song in this one. It's catchy. You will sing it nonstop after you first hear it. Just little lines in that song. P.T. Barnum said it so long ago. There's one born every minute. Don't you know? It's time to take a ride on the Nightmare Merry-Go-Round. Just little stuff like that. You'll be dead on the arrival from the likes of the Killer Klowns. So much fun. Watch the music video if you can. And then the score is really good too. It's a lot of synth that fits in well with the scenes they're put in. There's the scene where the clowns are taking this long walk to the town, and it's a great shot going down the road, and you see like the light, that's where the town is, and you see one of these clowns looks into the screen, but he's looking, off in the distance to the other clowns. He says something in Clownese, don't fucking know what it is, and then it shows him slowly walk in their big fucking clown shoes, like so it says boop. You see their feet moving, and it's just great guitar synth sound, and I love it. And then there's another creepier version when Dave and Mike are watching. It's towards the end of the movie, and everybody in the town has been kidnapped, and they've been turned into these cotton candy cocoons because like the clowns have different weapons. They have a gun that shoots killer popcorn. They have a laser gun that wraps people up in these cocoons that look like cotton candy. And a lot of clowns that we haven't seen are driving like this gigantic truck that is also part vacuum, and it's sucking up the cotton candy cocoons to take them back to the spaceship. The creativity and the creepy score during this scene is fantastic. Totally works. and it's one of the best scenes in the movie. No dialogue really at all. It's just them watching the clowns do their thing. The look of the clowns. The look of the clowns. So creative. It's not just this guy here. We have a little midget clown with green hair. We have a super fat clown. We have one that's got spiky hair. Each clown is specifically different. And that's great. And then by the end of it, when everyone's on the spaceship, we think the Terenzi brothers are, the Terenzi brothers are basically being raped by the female clowns right now. So it's the final finale between Mike, Dave, and Debbie. And they're on top of this mountain of boxes, and all these clowns are coming out, and they're swinging like spiked bats and swords and this and that, trying to climb up. And there are dozens of these clowns, and they're all fucking different, which is great. I love it. And then the final part of this scene, because I'm talking about how all these clowns are different, we have Clownzilla, basically. It's just, I guess, the leader of the clown. I talked about this on the Graveyard Shift. I think me or Mike, I was pretty much, so it's kind of like the Rancor from Return of the Jedi. He comes down from the ceiling on strings. He's like Godzilla, Clownzilla, but we pictured him like the Rancor, and just really he had like a barracuda type face, really scary and disturbing looking, and made for a great finale when Dave's able to save the day, and the Terenzi brothers you think are killed, and they're not. So the clowns look great. Let's talk about the creativity. I already mentioned some of the weapons. I love how they capture some of the people. And some of it captures or kills some of the people. One of the scenes that everyone knows about is when there's a bunch of bikers down an alley, and the midget one, Tiny or whatever we'll call him, I don't know. He shows up on like his little tricycle, and the bikers are gonna be assholes, and hey man, Big Bag Jojo coming into town, can I ride your bike? And Clown shakes his head no. So he says, can I honk the horn? Clown says yes. He lifts up the bike and just destroys it in front of the clown. Clown jumps off screen, comes back, and he's got boxing gloves on. You hear him say, put up your dukes. And then literally the guy bends over and says, what are you going to do? Knock my block off? Boom, head flies off into a garbage can as everyone runs away screaming. Great. There's a couple other ones. The one I definitely have to mention, there's two I will mention, is the shadow puppet scene, which isn't really a death, but it's a capture scene. One of the clowns is making shadow puppets on the wall next to a bus stop, and people are watching. He's doing like the bunny rabbit, and I think there's a bunny rabbit. He might do a bird, I'm not sure. But eventually he does like George Washington crossing the Delaware, and then he turns the shadow puppet into a T-Rex with glowing eyes. The shadow eats the people, and then he can put them in his little carry-on bag and get away. But the major death in this, I've already discussed it in my Bloody Sundays playlist, is when they get rid of Mooney. And there's a line dropped earlier where Mooney says, Dave, you won't make a dummy out of me. Or he says it to Dave or Mike, I don't remember. And then later on, a killer clown comes into the police station, and he does kill Mooney in an interesting and funny way, so there's some gags thrown in there. You don't see him killed on screen, but Dave walks in. He sees Mooney sitting on the lap of a killer clown. He's got blood, rosy cheeks, and he's got some blood streaming from his mouth, so it looks like how the dummy's mouth would work. And he's doing the clown is doing a ventriloquist act with Mooney's body, and then he just leans forward. He's like, "What's the matter, Dave? All I want to do is kill you." And then you hear this noise, and the clown lifts up a bloody hand, like covered in red. Mooney falls over. And then you just hear and there's a great use of sound effects. The clown just goes like this to shake the blood off, and you just hear a whoosh noise. Gory, sound effects work, creepy, death of the movie. God, there isn't much of this movie that I don't love. I love the country bumpkin in the very, very beginning. The guy from Ghoulies 2, who he thinks that the circus is in town because that's, their spaceship is shaped like a big top. They kidnap his dog, so he looks around, he swears he's going to tear down this with his bare hands type of thing. and he gets captured. Great memorable characters, memorable scenes like when, oh, the creepy scene where the one clown is trying to coerce the little girl from like the Big Top Burger or Circus Burger, whatever the burger place is, just trying to get her to come outside, pure pedophile mode. Creepy, and behind his back he's got this huge mallet like he's gonna smack her with it or something like that. And there's more, I haven't even mentioned what the popcorn turns into, which I won't spoil that. That's a cool scene. With Debbie getting out of the shower, and sadly no nudity for Suzanne Snyder. But that doesn't take away with how much I absolutely love Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Another death I won't ruin. The pies. I won't ruin that. The pie death. But the characters, other than the Terenzi brothers, are likable. I fucking love Mooney as the asshole. The design, the score, the fucking theme song, the deaths, the creativity, everything about Killer Klowns, other than those dumbass Terenzi brothers, is great. Highly recommend Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Absolutely love this movie. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, comment below, click the bell, all that usual shit. Comment below what you think of this movie. You love it? Hate it? Do you actually like the Terenzi brothers? Please tell me why. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you to all the new subscribers and new people that are commenting. I appreciate it. Cheers, and see you in the next one. In space, no one can hear you eat ice cream. Or whatever the fuck is. That was stupid. Later.